We have a major update as Rockets trade rumors are escalating on Jabari Smith Jr. after he had a fantastic game last night. He may be headed to Sacramento this summer. We'll give you all the latest and what the Rockets would get in return for the trade right now here on Rockets Digest. I'm Jace Andrews. Welcome in here. We appreciate you taking the time. And let's start off right away with Jabari Smith Jr. Last night, a 30-point performance. He is great in a lot of facets, but he has been a bench player all year for the Rockets when they are fully healthy. And so, there has been some questions about Jabari Smith and his future in Houston. His contract is expiring soon. He is right now still on that rookie, club deal. But when the time comes for Jabari to get paid, the Rockets are not the team that are going to be doing it. And so, he has been mentioned in so many different trade rumors over the past couple days. But now it's starting to escalate to the point where he may be shipped off just for the fact that the Rockets don't want to pay him in a couple years. And that's where we go into the report here from Bleacher Report. We'll start with the Kings side of things, as that is where they predict him going, saying, quote, "The Kings do not appear likely to trade Sabonis this summer, but he's worth monitoring. If that goes south, so be it. But since this is one of the top goals, keep Sabonis on the roster for now, the same can probably be said for nearly everyone on the list, except for possibly Jonas Valančiūnas." We continue on here to the Rockets side of things, where they say, quote, "If the Rockets pull off a blockbuster deal, they may need to move Smith. Since he's close to a new extension, if a rebuilding team prefers one of the Kings' extra first-rounders, Sacramento may be able to add a young, versatile forward who plays defense," end quote. So that's where the report comes from, in saying that the Rockets are going to be making big trades this summer. That is going to be happening. The problem with it is there is money to be distributed. And Jabari Smith is not in that plan for the Rockets. So the best way to look at this is to see Jabari Smith Jr. as more of a trade asset than anything else. I know that there's probably going to be a couple of Jalen Green probably potentially going. Reed Sheppard is also talked about as being a top trade guy. But with Jabari Smith Jr.'s case, his contract states more that it's really just about the money. And that kind of leads me into the game last night. A 144-137 victory over the 76ers is a very good win. And when you look at the stat sheet here, Jabari Smith Jr. had probably one of his best games, I'd almost say the entire year. His rebounding has been great all year, so the 8 rebounds is not the thing I'm looking at. But 30 points off the bench is crazy. Not having Amen Thompson. Obviously, Reed Sheppard, Cam Whitmore still out right now. But Jabari Smith Jr. is stepping up night in and night out. And that's where this trade can kind of be a little questionable. And that's where I kind of want to bring you into this. If the Rockets were to get a big move this summer, let's go right here. Rockets make a big move. They trade for Jonas. They trade for KD. Are you okay with trading Jabari Smith Jr.? I am 100% okay, but let me know down in the comment section if you'd make that trade, Jabari Smith Jr. for, potentially a draft pick and Jonas Valančiūnas. I think that's a smart trade. And again, I sit here and I talk about Jabari Smith Jr. in the light that he's not this, spectacular player. He's not this. And while that is true to some point, this guy is a first rounder. I mean, Jabari Smith was projected to be a top player in the NBA. And in some ways, he shows it. Just like this stat sheet last night, he has the ability to play these type of games where he's putting up 30 points off the bench, where he's having 8 rebounds, 3 assists, only 4 turnovers. Being on the court for 39 minutes off the bench is pretty spectacular. And kind of going more into that game a little bit, I kind of want to talk about it. It's really cool to see the Rockets be able to find a different way to win each night without Amen Thompson. And I think that's just going to make this team better for the future run here in the playoffs. And Jabari Smith is kind of a part of that in some ways. So that's why, in a lot of ways, Amen Thompson comes back. He plays to the standard that we've seen Amen Thompson play at. Jabari Smith Jr. already on the bench gets popped back to maybe 7 slot potentially. It kind of depends on how Ime Udoka and honestly the play of Jabari Smith over the next couple days. Where does he fit in? And the contract that he is going to, I guess, need in a lot of ways is just, it's just not going to be worth it. I mean, right now, paying him almost $10 million, next year $12 million in the contract he just recently signed, is great. And when the Rockets got him, he was 19 years old. He was doing fantastic things for what the Rockets wanted him. But the time has come where the Rockets have gotten players that have really risen above the standards more than maybe Jabari Smith Jr. did. And so, maybe make a trade. And I sit here and talk about Jonas Valančiūnas for a second. He is somewhat of an interesting piece in all this because that's the guy that they quote-unquote labeled as going to the Rockets back. Kind of been a trade guy. He was with New Orleans, has been with Washington as well. But, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad thing to get him. He's kind of more of a depth piece in a lot of ways. But in some facets, Valančiūnas is a lesser and, older, bigger version of Jabari Smith Jr., and he's not going to require as much money. In fact, he's not making as much money right now. And so in that facet, I think that just makes the most logical sense as you go into this summer thinking about how to construct this team even better for next year. And I know it's still time for basketball. And I think in a lot of ways, that's why Jabari Smith has been labeled so much in these trade rumors, because he doesn't really fit on this team right now. And so the Rockets go out, they make a move like we expect them to do, like I know they will do, whether that's Jonas, KD, Booker, whatever, it doesn't matter. When they go out and make that move, they're going to need to sell off some pieces. And yeah, maybe Jalen Green goes in a Jonas trade, or maybe there's certain picks or stuff. It's still a certain point where you have to figure out the trend for money. And so that's where we sit here with Jabari Smith Jr. And I don't want to sit here and say that he's not a good player. He is a very good player, averaging over 12 points. His rebounds have really been the big thing. He was top 25 last year in rebounding across the entire NBA. And he's really young. And that's exactly why his contract is going to be probably a little more fruitful than what the Rockets are willing to spend on a guy like him. And that's honestly, people say it's a good problem to have, and I think it is. You have so many young assets. You have built this team from 500 last year just alone to not even getting to 50 wins in the past, however many years, to now you're number 3 in the Western Conference. You're now on a 7-game win streak. You face the Magic, who you've beaten most recently. Play them tomorrow night. You're in a good spot that you can kind of start fantasizing about these things, and I truly believe Jabari Smith Jr. is not going to be on the Houston Rockets next year. Now, whether that be the Kings, I don't exactly know that much. It's really both those teams needing more of a swap for money purposes, and of course the Kings kind of needing to reset themselves with the Aaron Fox trade. So lots of things to consider in that aspect, but in my mind, Jabari Smith Jr. is not a Houston Rocket by the time the 2025-2026 season rolls around. We appreciate you joining us here on Rockets Digest. Tell you what, if you made it to the end of the video, you obviously are enjoying the content. Make sure you go down there, hit that subscribe button. You could be one of the first 100 subscribers on what will be the biggest YouTube channel of Rockets content you're going to find. We appreciate you joining us, and for now, peace out here on Rockets Digest.